Yung mga itsura ko sa TV. Na yung mag-oras kay Lokwan at ngayong araw ay ika-23rd na episode na ng Trabaho ken Serbisyo. At syempre nagtataka kayo kung bakit ako nakaupo dito kung dati ay bisita lamang ako dito sa Trabaho ken Serbisyo. Ngunit ngayon dahil napaka-espesyal ng ating episode ngayon at tayo ay nagsi-celebrate ng International Women's Day, actually kahapon nito. So binabuti natin na bigyan namin kayo ng kakaibang twist at syempre surprising talaga na ang episode natin ay magkaroon ng napaka-espesyal na bisita at palagay ko itong bisita natin ay hindi ito iba sa inyo kung kayo ay laging nakatutok at nakasubaybay sa programang Trabaho ken Serbisyo. Siguradong kabisado nyo na ang babae na talagang pinili nating maging bisita mismo ng Trabaho ken Serbisyo dahil naniniwala tayo sa kakayanan ng bisita natin, sa kanyang husay at pagsisigasig, no? Hindi lamang sa kung anong institusyon siya nabibilang, kundi para sa kanyang sarili at sa kanyang pamilya at sa komunidad na kanyang ginagalawan. Kilalanin natin at i-welcome natin ang napaka-espesyal nating bisita. Walang iba kundi ang ating host ng Trabaho ken Serbisyo, Marjo. Ayan. Magandang hapon at siguro nagulat ka rin na biglang naiba yung segment natin this afternoon.
Ay, thank you. Naimbag nga oras tayami na po kakabsat. Tatay ko lang mamuan, umayag dito yung studio, nga siyak gayam ti kayat da, nga maamamo, kiniyam amu kada kayo. So nga, this is an idea of my production manager and my director himself, Gilbert Caro, and of course, with the blessing of Congressman Levy.
At syempre, dahil espesyal, at sabi ko kanina, you are a very special guest.
Wow.
Syempre, meron tayong pasabog na bouquet para sa'yo. At ito ay napaka... Ayan.
Wow!
This is for you.
Wow
Ayan.
naman!
Mula
Mahal
sa...
na mahal niyo ako talaga,
Yes, mula sa Trabaho ken Serbisyo. Ayan.
Ang sarap naman
siguro,
ng pagmamahal niyo sa akin, Mr. Gilbert
siguro
Caro.
ibinalik ka sa February, no? Sa Valentine's Day na talaga namang on live, naka-live.
Peak pa siya.
Yes, talagang napakabata. Ngayon, gusto nating makipag-celebrate, no, sa International Women's Day. Actually, itong celebration natin ay nagsimula pa noong 2011. At March, ito ay hindi ginagawa ng Marso 8, kundi ito ay ginagawa every March 19. Ngayon, na-move ito, noong 2013 lamang na-move sa March 8, itong ating celebration ng Women's Day, no? At gusto kong alamin din, paano mong isineselebrate? Paano mong tinitingnan ang iyong sarili bilang bahagi ng empowered women sa ating society?
Unang-una, sa umaga, nagdarasal ako. Siyempre, nagpapasalamat sa Diyos na ako isang babae. Okay? I am me. Isa akong babae na may kakayahan. Meron din akong kagandahan, physical man or yung kagandahan ng loob, kagandahan ng pakikipag-ugnayan sa mga ibang tao. At isa pa, I always greet my friends happy anniversary or happy celebration of the International Women's Day, which is March 8. Nakagisnan ko na yung March 8. And then it becomes an ordinary day at work. I always make it a point to greet my staff or my colleagues in the organization or sa office namin, and then send messages also online, read articles. Yun ang hindi nawawala sa akin, yung nagbabasa. Hapon at gabi, I always read events, mga messages tungkol sa selebrasyon ng Women's Month.
Oh, nice. At alam mo, ninais natin na maging bisita ka ng mismong programa mo kasi naisip ko parang hindi yata namin na ipakilala kung sino talaga si Marjo, no? Pamuspusan, amigable dito sa programang Trabaho ken Serbisyo. At ngayon aalamin natin, no? Aalamin natin na mula sa kanya At gusto kong ipakilala sa inyo ng lubos, sino nga ba talaga si Marjo Pamuspusan Amigable, no? At natutuwa ako, pati ako gusto kong malaman mula sa iyo, Marjo, gusto kong kwentuhan mo kami.
Yeah, sure.
Kung ano ba talaga yung mga pinagdaanan mo? Saan ka unang na-expose? Ano ang mga unang ginawa mo bago ka pa napunta sa opisina ni Kong Divi sa Villano?
Una, pinanganak ako ng July 19. Importante yun.
Yes.
At the height of a typhoon, according to my parents, nabuhay ako sa mundo amidst a big typhoon in Ilocos. So my parents, Eddie and Karing, were very happy of my birth on July 19. That is why yung pangalan kong totoo is Maria Julia. From my birth month, which is July. Okay? So, nag-aral ako sa pribadong eskwelahan, St. Rosary College, St. Paul College of Ilocos Sur, and then went on to college at the University of the Philippines and took up AB Social Sciences, major in political science and psychology. And then I worked initially, actually, na-mention ko ito nung guest natin ng taga Red Cross. No? But prior to Red Cross engagement, ang una-una kong trabaho was as a researcher of the United Nations, yung WHO, World Health Organization in Manila. And I was based at the University of the Philippines in Diliman, sa College of Arts and Sciences, with faculty members ng psychology, sociology, mathematics, and epidemiology ng UP Manila. 1 year ako dyan. And then, nag-apply ako sa Red Cross thinking na gusto kong pumunta ng Morong Bataan for the Refugee Center. Karamihan ng aking upper class na nasa psychology department ay nag-work doon. So I did apply. But then somebody, I still remember her name, si Miss Lourdes Masing, who used to be the administrator of Ilocos Sur Red Cross, and then became the Director of Disaster, DPRS ang tawag namin noon, Disaster Preparedness and Relief Service, nagsabi ng bakante dito, may OIC. So sabi niya, why don't you apply? So I came home and took the recommendation of a good governor. I owe it to Governor Luis Chavez Singson. He was the governor then. And then in-endorse niya ako, nag-training kaagad, at meron na ring recommendation ang chairman ng local chapter who is Carmeling, the Honorable ex-governor, former governor Carmeling Pichay Crisologo. So kung tutuusin mo, I was a Carmeling girl. I was a Chavit girl. Sila ang aking unang-unang mentors in my humanitarian work.
At pansin ko, no, yung husay at galing talagang mahahalata mo kaagad pag nakikita mong mabilis ang proseso. Mabilis lang sa'yo na nakapasok ka at hindi ka nahirapan. No? Siguro dati pa nakakakitaan ka ng galing at husay. No? Pero ano yung mga unang project na ginawa mo sa Red Cross na talagang tumatak sa'yo? Na hindi mo
sa tingin ko yung membership fund drive. Because nung dumating ako dito, unfortunately, hindi performing ang Ilocos Sur. So kinakantyawan yung direktor noon na si Miss Basing, at pati nung pagpasok ko, there was a fresh hope. Na dahil bata ako, fresh graduate, minsan lang nag-work, sabi nila, taga Ilocos Sur ako. So I came here as a young professional, the youngest administrator, na parang walang naniniwala sa akin. Sabi nga nung isang flag racing sa Kapitolyo, ito ba yung bagong administrator? Anong alam nito? Kasi napakabata ko. And ang una-unang project ko or dinevelop ko was the membership drive. For me to raise funds for the Red Cross was to raise friends. Yeah. So I went around to the various offices, university and colleges, communities. I befriended all the local chief executives. And backing me then was the good governor, Luis Chavez Singson. So I have fond memories of my meetings with Apo Chavez and Apo Carmeling. So membership and fund drive. And then I went to Red Cross Youth. Kasi bata ako, I had to tickle the energy of the youth sa schools and outside in the communities. In fact, may SK na doon, di ba? Kabataang Barangay or KB. So yun yung pangalawang program ng Red Cross na ginusto kong implement or i-enhance. And then, of course, disaster risk management
Pero
and blood program.
na-curious ako, no?
Yeah.
Parang interesado ako na malaman kung paano mo hinarap tong mga negative thoughts, mga negative expectations, no? Dito sa mga tao na kasurround sa'yo. Paano mong naharap ito at paano mong ipinakita ka sa kanila na mali ang kanilang mga expectations
Alam mo,
from you?
pumapasok dito. But at the end of the day, I would always sit down. Meron akong me time. Pagkatapos ng work, I keep myself by myself. Mag-isa lang ako. And then I assess the whole day. So kung nakadamay sa nga grandmother, iwagteng mo dagita. Hamudeng-denggen, dagita negative, ta makadadael, ti kinataom. So, ako, very positive person.
Alam mo ngayon,
No.
hearing your story, like, habang sinasabi mo yan, mas naniniwala ako na talagang fit ka, ano? Bagay na bagay sa'yo na i-represent mo yung women as we celebrate yung Women's Day,
Yeah.
International Women's Day. Bakit? Kasi isa sa mga isinusulong nitong celebration na ito, yung equality ng gender, no?
Oo.
Yung pagkakapantay-pantay ng lahat. At
Yes.
palagay ko, talagang isa ka doon sa mga patuloy na nagsusulong at ipinapakita mo
yes.
na babae pero kayang pumantay at kayang tumapat sa kakayanan ng mga lalaki.
Oh, pero alam mo, Gilbert, ang dami ko ng workshops, seminars, training, conferences here and abroad. My latest training was on gender and development.
Nice.
So I went to Cavite. Now, I had a break from my work with Congressman Divi. Nagpaalam ako sa kanya. I received a grant from the Institute of Women's Studies ng isang St. Scholastica College, isang madre who is empowered ang nag-approve ng application ko. So I was there for 2 weeks. And indeed, I appreciated the role of women in society, in transforming organizations, transforming families, relationship, and society. So, yun yung naging internal na kumbaga tema ko since that time, which was 2019. So, I was invited to speak about gender equality here and there, not in Ilocos Sur yet, because in Ilocos Sur, risk reduction ang alam nila sa akin dahil galing akong Red Cross. But isinusulong ko ito because I have learned that even in Congress, na ang laki ng pondo at meron ding fund for gender and development, lahat ng national government agencies dapat i-mainstream ang gender or equality ng babae at lalaki. So, I should set the example of showing people that I've had opportunities. Isa yan sa isinusulong ko, na lahat ng babae bigyan ng oportunidad. Hindi lang for social concerns, but economic empowerment as well. Dapat may trabaho, dapat may papagkukuhanan, dapat may abilidad. So, ang babae hindi na yung traditional role. And I'd like to even question the idea of Aristotle, who has the idea that every man is a political man. So tayong lahat, sabi niya noon, merong difference. Ang lalaki has a traditional role of authority. Meron siyang otoridad. Mas mataas ang lalaki kaysa babae. So noong kapanahunan nila, I believe in that. But meron ng transformation ng society. Meron ng women portraying role in politics, even in organizations, in businesses, no? And I would like this opportunity na ma-mention at masabi sa inyong lahat na nag-iba na, times have changed, that women are already empowered. And I do believe and I appreciate that I am an empowered woman.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Very well said, no? Pero paano mong isusulong ngayon itong equality, yung gender equality, no? Amidst dito sa mga negative at sa marami pa rin mga kababaihan na talagang nadodominihan, yung under sila. At
Yes.
hindi sila talagang makapagpakita ng galing nila dahil sa kanila parang lagi pa rin nandyan yung mas mataas yung lalaki, mas strong yung lalaki. Paano mong,
Alam mo, may differences. Physically, mas strong kayo. Maglaban tayo ngayon ng physical, mas magaling ka. Kasi we are soft-hearted, nurturing in nature, and also more emotional. That is acceptable. Pero yung empowerment na sinasabi ko ay giving opportunities. Yung mga babae should accept na meron silang papel sa buhay natin, sa buhay ng society, sa buhay ng asawa nila. We have a distinct role in the family. And then the appreciation of oneself. Okay? Na ikaw may buhok na maganda, mukhang maganda, you're beautiful inside and out. Nasabi ko nga, meron kaming attributes physically, meron kaming attributes emotionally, and especially spiritually. Mas spiritual or spiritual-minded ang mga kababaihan. We have more nurturing values.
At palagay ko mas sensible kayo, no? Mas nakakaramdam kayo.
Yes.
No? Medyo,
kumbaga,
yung senses mas mataas.
May isa pang sense ang isang babae.
Ano yun?
Yung feeling. Iba ang emosyon ng mga lalaki. You're straightforward. You cry, but you cry alone. Unlike us, we are not afraid to cry.
Yeah.
We are not afraid to show our emotions. And that is a distinct attribute of a woman.
Pero Marge, marami na rin mga lalaki ang hindi takot umiyak, no? Siguro, naniniwala na rin sila sa gender equality na maging ang mga lalaki rin naman ay pwede rin magpakita ng kanilang emosyon, no?
Yes,
sa mga
of
tao.
course.
So, having said that, yung tayo bilang, ikaw, halimbawa, babae ka, paano mong tinitingnan ang gender pagdating naman doon sa oportunidad na nakalatag? Ibig sabihin, halimbawa, sa mga pagkakataon na may pangangailangan, halimbawa, no, sa gobyerno natin, mapapansin mo, karamihan pa rin ng mga nakaupo ay mga kalalakihan.
Yes.
Mas malaki ang bilang ng mga namumunong lalaki kumpara sa mga babae. Bakit ganun pa rin ang nangyayari kahit na matagal na nating isinusulong tong equality na ito since 1911 pa nagsi-celebrate na tayo ng ganitong mga advokasya.
Alam mo, sa buong mundo, 22 countries ang merong babaeng leader. Okay? And 25% nasa legislative body. And 25% as well sa local governance. Ngayong kapanahunan ng pandemya, 80% mga babae ang ating frontliners. 80% ang nagpo-provide ng service. But then again, decisions are made by men. No? So nakikita natin doon yung kakulangan pa ng advokasya tungkol sa gender equality. That is why isinusulong ito ng iba-ibang international organizations like the United Nations, even UNICEF, even my previous engagements with the Red Cross, na dapat may gender mainstreaming. Dapat bigyan ng oportunidad, bigyan ng pondo, bigyan ng, kumbaga, lugar ang mga babae sa politics. Because we also deserve to give our share in decisions that affect our lives.
Yeah, tulad ng tema natin ngayong taon as we celebrate the Women's Day ay yung women in leadership, no?
Right.
How the women achieved an equal future amidst pandemic, itong COVID-19. Paano kayong lalaban? Ibig sabihin, paano kayong makakapag-achieve ng equal opportunity or equal future sa mga kalalakihan? Lalo na ngayon, halos ang mga dominant at mga talagang nangunguna, no, sa pagsulong nitong paglaban natin sa pandemya ay halos mga lalaki, yung mga babae. Di ba? I mean, so paano? Anong gagawin? How can you achieve, no, an equal future, no, dito sa COVID-19 world?
Unang-una is the awareness na ang isang babae may kapasidad. If you ever realize, marami kaming ginagawa sa bahay, okay? Sa pagkain, nutrisyon ng pamilya, unang-una kami dyan. Sa pag-aayos ng mga edukasyon ng mga bata, nandyan ang mother, the first teacher. Okay? Doon sa paglilinis at pag-aayos ng struktura ng bahay, babae ang in charge. And men should realize that. Men should understand we have distinct roles inside the house. Una-unahin natin ang bahay. Pag-aayos ng beddings, ng kusina, paglalaba, pag-iigib ng tubig, pagmamarket, okay? Pag-grocery, anong ihahain sa lamesa.
Pero Marge,
You have to appreciate that.
Yes,
Men
yes, of course.
never understand that kind of role that we have.
Yeah.
It's still the traditional. Fine.
Pero palagay ko, no, magkaibang mundo itong mundo ng bahay, sa loob ng bahay at sa labas.
Bakit?
hindi madali na tayo ay humarap sa real world, no?
Yeah.
Yung bahay natin ay nasa kamay natin.
Yes.
You know, kaya nating paikutin yung
Yes.
yung buhay natin kung tayo ay nasa loob ng pamamahay natin.
That is
Hawak
why-
natin ang batas diyan. But
Yeah.
how?
Yeah.
Paano na natin harapin pag tayo ay nasa labas, pag nasa
Yes.
real world na tayo, na may ibang mga pamilya tayong makakasalamuha.
Yes.
Meron mga panganib at banta na laging nandyan sa daraanan natin.
Kinakabahan na ako dyan sa explanation. Paano? Okay, ganito.
Paano? Sige.
We get out of our comfort zone.
Yes.
Okay? Galing kami sa pamilya. Tulad ko, I get out. I went out, and meron akong pinagkikitaan. So I'm stable. Meron akong, kumbaga, career. So if you don't get out of that comfort zone from your house as a woman, anong mangyayari sa'yo? Marami ding may livelihood, still confined in the house. Pero lumalabas na ang mga kababaihan. Rumarampa na kami. Okay? Like now, who would ever imagine mag-host ang isang babae ng isang live show? Okay?
Yeah.
How could anyone imagine teaching in the university? How can somebody imagine traveling as an OFW, away from the family? So we get out of our comfort zone because we believe we have that mental set na may kakayanan ang isang babae. So ang isang babae kung walang believe sa sarili, hindi niya na-appreciate kung anong kakayahan niya, no matter how men view you, you should get out of your comfort zone. You can always keep going back to your comfort zone, pero lumabas ka, babae. Okay?
Yeah. Alam mo, Marge, habang pinag-uusapan natin itong gender equality, no?
Yes.
Bigla akong naisip at naalala yung LGBT natin.
Right.
So, paano yan? Masyado nating isinusulong yung equalities para sa mga babae. Paano naman natin ngayong pagtutuunan ng pansin o bibigyan din naman ng pantay na karapatan at pagtingin itong mga nasa LGBT community naman?
Alam mo,
As a girl, as a woman.
as a woman, ang gender kasi hindi lang pang babae yan. Ang gender also means para sa kalalakihan, para sa kababaihan, and those who are either LGBT or those who are not considered man or woman, no? Who can neither distinguish kung saan sila, na in between. During these days, meron ng malawak na acceptance of who is a man and who is a woman, and a person who is under the LGBT organization. Ako, malaki ang aking acceptance, ang aking belief sa mga membro ng LGBT. They're very creative. They're still individuals.
Yeah. Alam mo,
No?
naiintriga akong itanong sa'yo, no?
Ano?
Paano ang magiging pananaw mo naman o
Yes.
sarili mong opinion doon sa mga transgender women, no?
Marami.
Mga babae na
Yes.
transgender
Yes.
na nagse-celebrate ng Women's Day.
Alam mo, isa akong mula nung...
Are they belong to...
No, when I had this gender and development training under the Institute of Women's Studies, no, nalaman ko na ang isang tao, kagaya kong babae, ay mapagpalaya. Meaning, kung mapagpalaya ako, I should give freedom to a person to select his own life or her own way of life, her own beliefs. Ganyan ako mapagpalayang
Marge,
babae.
medyo ilayo ko lang ng konti. Naalala ko lang yung isang insidente sa Manila.
Oo.
Naisip ko nung mga time na pinapanood ko yung pangyayari na yon na isang trans woman pumasok sa transgender, pumasok doon sa CR ng babae.
Yes.
Tapos pinalabas siya nung
Yeah.
babae
There was
yun,
an
take
incident.
note.
Yeah.
So, naisip ko, paano mong ipapasok ngayon yung isinusulong na advokasya, na isinusulong na yung gusto nating mangyari na equality, no, doon sa bawat kasariang meron tayo. Kung hindi natin kayang tumanggap, babae pa yon.
Yes.
Babae
yes.
yon. Kung lalaki siguro yun, medyo, siguro.
Hindi kapansin-pansin kung transgender or not. We in fact have a congresswoman, dating lalaki,
Yan, naging
transgender. Meron tayong sikat na
Sa
singer.
Sa yung sariling opinion, paano mo,
Getting that,
paano mo nga harapin yun?
alam
Ano ang
ko
pananaw mo?
merong mga transgender. Ako, mapagpalaya ako.
Okay lang
Kung
sa'yo.
okay sa akin, kung ano yung napili nila na kabuhayan, na how they live their lives, ako, I'm very open.
May mga isinusulong ngayon, no, na sana raw ay magkaroon din ng
CR,
sariling
exactly.
comfort room ang
Yes.
mga nasa LGBT community.
Yeah.
Are you in favor of that?
Yes.
Kasi
Yes,
you
I
have
am.
said na okay lang sa'yo na kahit pumasok sila sa comfort room ng mga babae.
No, it's not
So,
that.
okay.
Okay sa akin ang naging transgender sila.
So, kailangan-
That's their choice. Pero I have been in a country na merong CR na
Yung mga...
para sa mga transgender, para sa mga bakla, para sa
Paano
mga
yung mga
effeminate, no?
So,
Tatlong CR.
so tomboy,
Oo.
yung mga badinga tomboy,
And it's their choice. No? May CR ang babae, lalaki, yung mga lesbians, meron din, at meron din yung mga transgender or mga lalaking naging babae. So there were several, sinabi doon na third sex,
Yeah.
bahala na sila. It's the choice of the individual kung papasok sa CR ng lalaki, no? Kahit bading siya kung mas gusto niya doon. But then again, hindi lahat nakakaintindi nito.
medyo,
Okay?
medyo parang feeling ko medyo dumistansya tayo ng konti doon.
Sa woman.
Hindi.
But that's okay.
Yeah,
It's
naano
quite
natin,
related.
kasi naalala ko lang yung mga pangyayari na maraming mga babae rin naman ang hindi rin nila magawang i-practice yung mga advocacies mismo ng mga kababaihan na magsulong ng equality, no? Yung gender equality natin. Pero gusto kong gusto kong bigyan gusto kong bigyan din yung tayo na mga babae. Ikaw achiever ka, magaling, mahusay, no?
Wow.
Paano mong tinitingnan din naman ngayon yung mga babae na nasa loob ng tahanan? Paano kayo? Kasi
No, I still appreciate women who remain to be in their own home.
maraming babae.
It's their choice. But then
Are
again,
can you consider them as an empowered
Yes.
woman?
yes.
In what
Kasi they
aspects?
keep their traditional role at home. Basta lang handamot nagmadyong diyo nagtiunuhan, damot they are preoccupied. They attend to their family members.
So you mean yung empowerment, yung
Yes.
success ng mga babae ay hindi lang nakikita
Confined.
sa achievement
Yes,
o sa nagawa o naiambag mo sa...
Exactly. I must say, my grandmother, no grade 1 ka, hindi nga tiyempon, educated ka. Ag-Espanyol, ag-English. But he never worked in a company or in an office, no? She was confined di jay balay mi. Ngam, ada pinagkakakitaan na. Ada negosyo na. So, ada kinday jay babae, no, ti kayat na agad just to attend to her family. No, kabailan ti asawa na to provide for the family. Iso na lang mga iwanan, dagi jubing, may tulod jubing agbasa. So, it's still a choice of the individual, of the woman. But if it is her choice to go ahead, move forward, and get out of her comfort zone, it has to be a discussion with the husband. I need to work, and normally kadagito yan, duwadan, asawa, ngagasawan, itig trabaho.
Sabi natin kanina, Marge, no, bago tayo nag-umpisa, magiging casual talk lang, pero hindi
nga,
tayo magiging seryoso. Pero, alam mo, ang hirap pala talaga, no? Kaya, alam mo, bilib ako sa mga umuupo dito sa harapan at nag-host, na nagagampanan nila. Doon pa lang sa aspeto na gano'n, nakakabilib na talaga yung makaharap ka sa mga camera at spontaneously masabi mo yung mga gusto mong sabihin na hindi ka...
Alam mo kasi ako, as a woman, I want to have my own niche under the sun. Ako yung tipong meron akong identity. So I move out of my comfort zone. Gusto kong mabuhay na meron akong ibabalita sa Diyos pagdating ng araw. Ito yung ginawa ko sa ibaba. Ito ang ginawa ko sa mundong ito.
Ano yung mga core values na mayroon ka na ginagamit mo lagi sa lahat ng aspeto na ginagawa mo sa buhay mo? Ano yung mga prinsipyong mayroon ka? Aside from those things na you have discussed, no, na yung mga sinabi mo, ano yung mga parang sangkap ng buhay na ginagamit mo para manatili kang empowered woman, magaling, tapos, alam mo, naalala ko,
Ikaw lang yata may believe sa akin
alam mo,
yan.
naalala ko, back in 2013, kung di ako nagkakamali, it was during the time of Typhoon Yolanda.
Yes.
We have conducted concert for a cause.
Yes.
At nagkasama tayo doon.
Yeah, first time.
So, nakita ko first time nakita ko na napakasigas mo, talagang independent, strong woman. So, believe ako talaga, sabi ko, okay to. Hindi ko inasahan
Na magkasama tayo
Oo,
ngayon.
pero ang tagal, ilang taon. Siguro, I think, 10 years bago tayo nagkita ulit.
Yeah,
Remember?
more or less 10 years.
More or less 10 years. nung
Tourism program. Ni
Yes, sa
David,
Bantay.
Sa Bantay.
Nag-usap tayo. Nagulat ako, very spontaneous ka. Nagustuhan ko kaagad, no? I think, doon pa lang sa aspeto na talagang kaya mong manindigan sa sinasabi mo, yung prinsipyo na mayroon ka. I think, naisip ko na dapat itong babaeng to, minsan ma-feature or maging guest sa isang... Di ba? And this time, parang ito yung fulfillment nung yung mga iniisip ko na, di ba?
Hala ka, may pagnanasa ka sa akin, ha?
Pero, ang problema natin, sabi ko naman, dapat, hindi tayo masyadong seryoso.
Sige.
Pero, nung kausap kita, parang, nagugulat ako, ang hirap, hindi pala madali. Kala ko madali lang yung mag-host, no? And I would like to take this opportunity na magpasalamat sa'yo na nabigyan ako ng pagkakataon na subukan kong mag-host ng isang programa.
Segment. An episode
Yes,
of this
isang
segment.
episode.
Yeah.
No? At nakakatuwa na talagang mas minabuti natin na yung celebration natin ng Women's Day ay maipakilala ka rin namin.
Thank you.
Kasi naniniwala kami sa'yo. Ang importante
wala yung tanong mo ng core values.
Balik natin yung core values.
Oo.
So, kasi gusto ko rin matutunan yon. Kasi tayo, as an individual, lahat tayo ay may mga pinanghahawakan tayong mga prinsipyo, mga core values na ginagamit natin sa pagharap natin sa mga pagsubok o sa anumang banta ng buhay na kakaharapin natin. Ang dahilan kaya tayo patuloy na nakakatayo at nakakalaban dahil doon sa mga ginagamit nating prinsipyo. I-share mo sa amin, ano yung mga core values na ginagamit mo para tuloy-tuloy mong magawa lahat ng mga kailangan
Meron
mo.
ba ako niyan?
Wala ba?
I live each
paano?
day, I live a day like it's my last. Okay? So, this is me. I am me. No? Kung ano yung binigay sa akin ng Diyos, enjoy ko lang. I do not want to pretend who I should be.
Maganda yun, no? Last performance of my life. Every day that you perform, you think that is the last day you have.
Yes, exactly.
Ang ganda nun.
Every morning, I appreciate that I'm still alive. Sabi ko, uy, agang angin sakpay. I can hear the birds chirping.
You mean every time na nag-host ka dito, as if that would be your last day.
Yes, my last day, not my last episode, but my last day. So I enjoy and make
kaya
things
pala,
to the fullest.
Kaya pala binibigay mong lahat. At nagpapaganda ka. At
give-
kitang-kita naman. So,
Wow.
having said that, ano nga pala yung mga sekreto mo naman? Ano
Sekreto?
Kasi palagay ko, medyo mas maedad ka naman siyempre sa akin, no? Pero
Yes.
how can you manage to maintain that beauty? You are gorgeous. Bakit? Paano?
I don't know. I'm just very human.
Wow.
I accept who I am. I am
Beautifully,
very communicative. I connect with people. Alam mo, nung college ako, marami akong kaibigan, but there's always a time for me to observe.
Parang yung mga kasama natin, nakalimutan na yata may mga tao nag-uusap. Parang nakalimutan na may programa. Kasi
mga galaw ng mga
maiba
tao.
ako, no? Ito palang show natin ay live streaming pala tayo.
Baka meron
At may kailangan
din.
pala tayong kausapin ng mga audience natin, no? Hindi natin...
Ayun lang. I'm very communicative.
Sige.
I have a very personal relationship with the Lord. You may not see me every Sunday or every day in church or in cathedral, but I have a very, very personal relationship with the Lord. I am not born again, I'm Catholic, but I'm Christian. Okay? I accept who I am. I know my limitations. Ang mukmet nga, nung dadumaga, may dungparak, may dugmamak, but I always make it a point to rise above anything else. I'm very communicative. I connect with people. I can kagurgura ng I let you. But then again, there will be a time that we will reconcile and be together again, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Mamaya, babalikan kita, no?
Sige, basahin
magbasa
pa.
tayo.
Okay.
Galing kay Perfecto Raka Jr. Good afternoon, amigo and Ma'am Marjo. Hello kay
Hi.
Perfecto. Happy watching at sana lagi kang nanonood. And of course, kay Erms Tangka Rigor, sige ma'am, host pa, sample naman po ng pagrampa. Oh, sample ka daw ng pagrampa.
Rampa?
Sabi ni Erms Tangka Rigor, ito ay galing sa Dubai.
Wow, Dubai pa.
At Tina Lopez, greetings to you all po. Kay Jazel Ramirez, good evening. Yan, good evening po sa lahat ng mga nanonood. At sana po, i-share niyo po itong ating live broadcast para marami po ang makapanood din. Kasi palagay ko, mainam din na makapanood sila at makita nila o makilala ka nila bilang host ng Trabaho and Serbisyo. No? Na you are an empowered woman na talagang ikaw ay dapat lang na nakaupo dito sa trabaho.
Pero alam mo, 4 pounds lang ako, hindi ako malakas ha. I'm very petite and very delicate physically.
Pero bago tayo magpatuloy, mag-break muna tayo at babalikan natin itong ating pag-uusap mamaya pagkatapos ng break.
Okay. Thanks, Gilbert.
Grabe, ang hirap pala ng ganito.
Mas gusto ko yata maging guest.
The COVID-19 pandemic has erased decades of progress towards gender equality. From high job losses to exploding burdens of unpaid care, from disrupted schooling to an escalating crisis of domestic violence and exploitation, women's lives have been upended and their rights eroded. Mothers, especially single mothers, have faced acute anxiety and adversity. The consequences will far outlast the pandemic. But women have also been on the front lines of pandemic response. They are the essential workers, keeping people alive and holding economies, communities, and families together. They are among the leaders who have kept prevalence rates lower and countries on track for recovery. This year's International Women's Day highlights the transformative power of women's equal participation. We are seeing it ourselves at the United Nations, where I am proud that we have achieved gender parity in UN leadership posts for the first time in history. The evidence is clear. When women lead in government, we see bigger investment in social protection and greater inroads against poverty. When women are in parliament, countries adopt more stringent climate change policies. When women are at the peace table, agreements are more enduring. And with women now serving in equal numbers at the top leadership posts at the United Nations, we are seeing even more concerted action to secure peace, sustainable development, and human rights. In a male-dominated world, with a male-dominated culture, gender equality is essentially a question of power, and males are an essential part of the solution. I call on countries, companies, and institutions to adopt special measures and quotas to advance women's equal participation and achieve rapid change. As we recover from the pandemic, support and stimulus packages must target women and girls specifically, including through investments in women-owned businesses and the care economy. Pandemic recovery is our chance to leave behind generations of exclusion and inequalities. Whether running a country, a business, or a popular movement, women are making contributions that are delivering for all and driving progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals. It's time to build an equal future. This is a job for everyone and for the benefit of everyone. Thank you.
Ayan, nagbabalik tayo dito sa Trabaho and Serbisyo, celebrating International Women's Day. At kasama pa rin natin si Marjo Pamuspusan Amigable. Ang napakaganda at talaga namang empowered. No? At gusto kong malaman, gusto ka pa naming mas makilala, Marge, no? At ano-ano yung mga achievements at ano-ano yung mga pinagdaanan mo? O, puntahan natin yung career na...
Okay.
Sige, ikwento mo sa amin
Sige.
kung paanong tumakbo ang iyong karera mula nung sa Red Cross or even before Red Cross.
Yeah.
Kasi parang bigla tayong nawala kanina eh.
Okay.
Ipagpaumanin niyo po mga magigilon naming tagapanood at taga-subaybay na ito po ay biglaan lang. Spontaneous po ito. At anyway, sige,
Okay.
ibahagi mo sa amin ang iyong kwento.
Napatalastas o nag-break tayo ng message ng Secretary General of the United Nations. Okay? So, ako naman, unang work ko was as a researcher Now, we call it research assistant at the University of the Philippines in Diliman under World Health Organization, which is a body of the UN. So 1 year ako dyan. Then I came to Ilocos. I was the administrator for 24 years. Can you imagine
matagal.
the loyalty and the passion I had for humanitarian work and work for our people, of Ilocos. But I was not merely confined within Red Cross. So I was part of the regional disaster management team of Region 1. I was the head of Region 1, covering around 7 provinces. I've also traveled in and out to represent the Red Cross, especially in Bangkok, which is the headquarters of the regional or the Southeast Asian regional headquarters. I attended so many. Ang dami-dami ko ng trainings and conference and fora in-attend. I was also part of the National Anti-Poverty Commissioner, NAPC, under the leadership of then President Joseph Estrada. So I was elected in the National Assembly under the Council of Victims of Disasters and Calamities, or VDC. And then, of course, I started studying again, but my family was growing. Babies kept coming. I have 4 kids already. So from there, I was able to improve the blood program, the highest category. Okay, I was able to implement successfully 4 years community health program in the province. And this was funded by ASEI, or Agencia Española Cooperación International, and the Spanish Red Cross. And also received support from the Danish Red Cross, from the Japanese Red Cross. I have underwent trainings with the International Committee of the Red Cross and the Federation. When I was here locally, I was called upon by the International Federation to attend the so-called dekunadang impact kunada tatanimidi, the basic training course, or BTC for international staff. So I was actually excited. I had how many weeks, or almost a month in Japan, in Fuji, for training for international work. Supposedly, my first assignment outside was in India about gender. But then I was pregnant, so I didn't want to endanger myself. Hayaan mo muna yung career. That was my 3rd child, or my first son. And then after that, while within the Red Cross, I've been achieving recognition as well. Can you imagine, Gilbert? I received a National Outstanding Award from the national media.
Wow.
For my work as an administrator of the Red Cross. And then also, apart from other engagements, I was able to go to Israel. Can you imagine? Handa makabirok ti sa Bali, di headquarters, siya ti pinili ni ako, Richard Gordon, to attend a crisis intervention training in Israel. It was very, very critical and crucial. Bang! Shit! Bang! Doon yung mangmangit ko, wala was in Haifa. Yung pala, mayroong mga bombings na sa border ng Gaza and Israel, sa Gaza mismo. So I was exposed to all these kinds of crises, which made me stronger. Sino ba namang petite na babae, na ayaw ng tiga national headquarters, at ako ang pinadala ni Chairman Gondon. And when I arrived, I submitted my proposal to conduct a training on psychosocial support program. Lahat ng staff ng Red Cross, ng mga nurse, psychologists, social workers, we had to train them on psychosocial. So ako yung unang-unang nag-train sa kanila. Nationwide, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. So PSSP ang tawag dyan, and we were able to get funding from the International Federation of Red Cross. So parang at one point, na-realize ko, parang nakuha ko na lahat, nagawa ko na lahat, feeling ko, until I applied for a position sa tsunami operations. I was taken by the Australian Red Cross, and then I met an accident, a major accident coming from Israel. I was on leave, I was paralyzed. Ang tawag mo doon?
Dami mo palang pinagdaan.
Ang dami na. May share ako mamaya tungkol sa age ng kababaihan and the geography of women, which will be my last message. I'll share that to you later on. So, after that, syempre nagustuhan ko yung work ko sa social service. But then sabi, parang nagawa ko na lahat sa Ilocos Sur. It's time for me to move so that the younger generation can come over and take over. I applied, kinuha ko ng Australian Red Cross, but na-aksidente ako. I had to rest. Okay. And then I applied again in 2018, middle of the year, and fortunately, I was taken in. Can you imagine nung ma-interview technical, general, ay banda ka pa abroad, just for the interview, free everything. Okay. So I was interviewed in Hong Kong under China Red Cross. And I was, after 2 weeks, we will let you know. But the following day, I received a call from the desk officers in Bagadan. You report to Indonesia and be a disaster management delegate or in charge of the program for the tsunami operations in Indonesia. Okay? After a year and a half, perhaps they've seen or recognized how I work, how diligent I was, how passionate I was. I went to the field at the same time, handled the integrated community disaster risk reduction in Lombok. And that's very close to Bali. And as a delegate, I also represented the Federation under the UN Cluster for Health. So I was commissioned to be part. And merong mga national disasters there that I was quite visible. Hindi lang yung tsunami operation or recovery, but even national disasters like earthquake in Padang, you know. And I've been around as well, invited to head evaluation of projects, not only in Indonesia, but I was also taken in sa Sichuan as effect of the earthquake in China. From there, I came home. 3 years in Indonesia, and would only come home once or twice a year. So there was kumbaga, Gilbert, damit setback na. I was away from family. Because anak nga family posted. Hangko may tugot yan ako because it's a disaster-prone area. But with internet and with Skype, at video call na with my husband and my family. No, nagigit challenges. Ano, the family life when you go out and work. But I was lucky enough that I was promoted to become the country director. So I handled international staff, I handled the national staff as well, and traveled around Indonesia and Asia. So being an international staff is really a challenge. Kaya ko na magkikimuto nga, basit, no?
Wait, bago natin ituloy yan, ito ay maganda ito at naka-align sa mga sinasabi mo. May tanong tayo from King Amigable. Can you describe a typical day when you were still an administrator? Paano yung typical day? Ano yung everyday, regular day para sa iyo?
Sa akin.
Noong ikaw ay isang administrator.
Yeah, before 8 o'clock, ready na ako. Because I was always on time. At 8 o'clock, I am at the office, at the chapter office. I meet my staff. On a Monday, there is always a Monday morning meeting. So ang Monday meeting ko is not just about programs, not technicality, but how are they, how is the work, how is family, do you have any concerns, do you have any questions, how do you see me, how can we make things better. So I was a transformational leader.
Wow, nice.
Ay,
tuloy natin, no? Galing sa ating mga nanonood kay Jun Simon Tubon. Happy Women's Day po. Mabuhay ang mga kababaihan. Yan.
Wow,
Mabuhay
thank
po
you.
lahat ng mga kababaihan sa buong mundo. Yan, mula naman kay Harlin May Sunyo. A blessed evening, everyone. Yan, kay Harlin May Sunyo. Ulit. Yes to women's empowerment. Happy Women's Month to all women out there.
Right.
Yan,
She's a woman. She's a young
Yes.
lady.
Si
Harlin
John
May.
ulit. Padayon? Anong padayon?
Padayon? June Padayon ang pangalan. Ha?
Oo.
Sige,
Mabuhay
basahin ko
po
lang.
ang mga kababaihan. Anyway, ayan, sobrang nakakatuwa na sobrang dami ng mga ginawa mo at talaga namang...
Kulang pa yun, Gilbert. You know, after that, I came home.
Yeah.
I became a consultant to the Vice Governor D.V. Savillano.
Paano,
Very long.
Papunta sana ako sa
Yes,
puntong
susunod
yan.
na yan.
Pero itanong ko na nga lang, paano kang na-involve? How can you involve? Paano ka
Network.
paano kang napunta at paano mo
Yes.
nakilala si Congressman D.V. Savillano?
Congressman D.V. was then the Vice Governor. Una ko siyang na-meet. Okay? And he was a policymaker, a legislator. Meron akong daladalang resolution ng Red Cross na ako na rin ang sumulat. Pinapirma ko sa chairman, Carmelin Crisol, present ko sa kanya to request membership drive kasi ito and fund campaign, to request a government aid to the Red Cross. And it was him who said, ibahin mo yung resolution mo, hindi lang for 1 year, but all the years thereafter. So every year, nagkaroon ng provincial government aid ang Red Cross.
Alam mo, napansin ako, no? Sa umpisa pa lang talaga, si Kong D.V. Savillano ay nakikitaan mo na ng pagiging visionary niya.
Yes.
Ayaw niya nung mga ngayon, bukas.
Yes.
Gusto niya ngayon, bukas, at sa mga susunod pang mga taon.
At nung
He
naging
is
governor
he is really
siya,
a visionary.
iba rin nung governor siya, Marjo, what are your challenges? Kunana. Simbaga kanya na, sir, the blood program. I want it to be the best blood program ever in Ilocos Sur or even in the region. So unti-unti from blood station, sabi ko, kailangan kong tulong mo, sir. Kailangan kong tulong ng PCSO. I was fortunate. It was Honey Girl de Leon, Singson de Leon, who was the chairman of PCSO. Tinuruan din ako ni ma'am. Who was then, prior to her post, was my chairman for special events or fundraising.
Gusto kong malaman, Marge, no? Kumusta yung unang buwan mo? Nakasama mo si Kong at nakapagtrabaho ka sa kanya. Unang first month na ikaw ay nagtrabaho at nakasama.
Mula pa Red Cross ako, nakatrabaho ko na si sir.
Nung nasa kanyang ikaw ay...
Vice Governor siya.
Yes, Vice Governor siya.
Yeah.
Ikwento mo sa
Ikwento ko sa iyo, galing akong abroad. Si sir, nagtaka ako bakit every time I come home from abroad or when nag-text ako sa kanya, "Hi sir, this is Marjo, how are you?" Ganyan lang. And then, kumusta ang trabaho mo? Babalik na naman ako Indonesia. Nung natapos ko ito, nag-text ulit ako sa kanya. Sabi ko, "Hi sir, andito ako sa Ilocos." Good. Kumusta yung posting mo? "Sir, tapos ko na." Congratulations. Can I work with you? Kuna ngayon sigida. Ko na, okay, fine. Mag-usap tayo, kuna na. DJ Manila, I'll be in Manila, and you will handle my anti-poverty programs as a vice governor. So since then, nag-meet kami ni Sir sa Starbucks, sapat sana sa Green Hills, but then, meron siyang meeting.
Talagang tanda mo yung mga detalye, no?
Sa Green Hills, pero tinawagan niya ako, "Marjo, I can't join you now because may meeting ako with Governor Chavez. Pwede bang mamaya?" "Sir, merong Starbucks sa Santa Mesa sa amin. Doon na lang tayo mag-meet." Nung on the way, si Sir siyang nag-drive. Minit niya ako sa Santa Mesa. Okay, order ka. "Anong gusto mo, Marjo?" Naiilang ako. Huwag ka sabihin ng mga tao, sino ba itong kasama ni Marjo? Or sino itong kasama ng Vice Governor? But okay lang. I'm very comfortable. But naiilang ako nung umpisa. Order ka tiket mo. We seated, fronting each other. We discussed about his anti-poverty programs until si Katiket ko, DRRM in charge. Nung Vice Governor, there was a governor. Okay. So, naging, sabi niya, okay, we'll see each other. Dileti kastoy, nagadot yung bagbagana. And then, napanakon, DJ, nagawidak, tibagana nag-report na tibigan. So, I didn't become a DRRM in charge of the province, but rather, I want you to write my resolutions. I want you to write for me. And then, sangja mo dagita. Kung kayang-kayang deta, mang-sample ka. So, naging ganon yung first month namin, parang hinahihiya ako sa mga ginagawa ko. But it was Congressman D.V. who really was my mentor insofar as legislation is concerned. Okay? Sabi ko nga, I owe him a lot because he would just send me messages sa aking Viber or Viber or messages. This is the title of the resolution and I want you to develop it. Ganyan. So ako, anong sasabihin ko? So nagre-research ako because that was my first job. So agkita na ti website, agkita na ti internet, until naging, alam mong sabi niya, I want you to complete at least 10 resolutions in a week. Imagine that. Nagtaya ti utak ko. No? So I was working online kanayon, either di Balay, wenno ti Kapitolyo, and would turn in the resolution to him via Daduma, di Manila, Daduma dito. When he comes home for session, he would make sure na danay sa rekon di jay secretariat iti SP. So that went on. Ngayon, anak nga chicken, iti grammar ko, bastahan ko garawin di title ni sir. So ang dami naming naisulat.
Yes, kunin ko yung oportunidad na ito, no?
Na-develop.
As an empowered woman, bilang isang talagang, gusto kong malaman, anong pagtingin mo? Kung i-rate mo si Kong Divi Sevillano sa kanyang public service,
Yes.
sa kanyang serbisyo, no? Kasi yung tayo naman, yung trabaho and serbisyo naman ay talagang nakasentro doon sa mga ginagawa ng distrito, paano mga functions nila at anong mga development ang nangyayari. If you were to ask, tungkol naman doon sa performance ni Kong Divi, anong masasabi mo bilang isang babae na talagang full of awareness, vigilant women, bilang isang vigilanteng babae na talagang nagbabantay sa lahat ng mga, hindi lamang sa mga chismis, hindi, sa, you know,
Ay, hindi ako chismosa ha. Hindi ako nakikichismis.
sa magandang paraan. Siyempre,
Okay.
paano mong i-describe si Kong Divi Sevillano bilang congressman ng 1st District?
First and foremost, I do not want to rate from 1 to 10 because that is not enough. I can only say that Apo Divi is a genuine public servant. I've said this time and again in my first video about who he really is. If people still recall, I had a video before the elections. It was January 19 to be exact, and you videotaped that. That was in Bantay when we were promoting with the consultant the tourism program now. Congressman Divi has so much of dedication for public service. I have not seen somebody as dedicated as him. He reads a lot. Diyo siguro amo deta sikreto. Ta isuti imbaga na kanya. Read and read and read, Marjo. Because somebody as a...
Yan ang pinakamahina.
Amo mo kanya think tank na. Dana di think tank ni sir. Idi danak di vice governor can comment. And I appreciate it very much because he has pushed me to the limits. Intellectually and even socially. Because he sends me as his representative. He sent me here and there with agencies, LGUs, even outside of Congress, lalo with the Congress. Nagtayot ti utek ko kini Apo Divi. He wants you to write this, and in the afternoon when he gets back, or even prior to the session, you should be ready with that. So I think I was the most serious and focused staff at the Congress during the first term of Congressman Divi. He is not just a genuine public servant, but he is a visionary. Yeah. He doesn't think only of today and tomorrow and next week, but he thinks forward, not only for our generation, but for the next generation. Another thing, he is a restless worker. Among ni Apo Divi, he would send messages.
Parang si Kuya Germs. Walang
tulugan. Natutulog ako. Sige, halaan mo siya. Maya mo siya. But when he wants something else, it's not deadline. He wants you to finish immediately. And ako, at the end of the day, sabi ko, I don't want to be a mediocre. Working with Congressman Divi has developed me not only as a writer, not only as a representative of him as a representative, nga dapat lang parupanakmet ni Apo Congressman Divi. So I need to behave. I need to follow his footsteps. Ang kagalang-galang, you know? I've never worked with someone as him who has that dignity and integrity.
Yes.
Okay? I have heard of so many issues about politicians, but he is not the traditional politician for me. He is a visionary a public servant. Kung alam to
Ayan.
niya,
Kayo na pa nagbibigay sa atin
na
ng
last minute na
ng
ba?
last minute, no? Napakabilis talaga ng oras at
Siguro,
talagang
Gilbert,
nabitin
sasabihin
tayo.
nila.
Sige, bibigyan na natin ng pagkakataon.
Siguro sabihin nila, napaka-loyal ko kay Apo TV.
Yeah,
Yes, I am.
indeed, oh.
I am not loyal to him as a politician. I'm loyal to him as a
Alright.
man.
Ito yung last message natin.
Okay.
Last message natin, Marge.
Bilis
Kasi
na.
we're running
Hiya na
out of
ako.
time.
Yeah.
Your last message.
Okay. I would like to share, because ang topic mo is about women, and I received lately a message from a very nice woman who described yung role, yung essence ng isang babae. Let me find it here, okay? Okay, here it is. The geography of a woman. This is dedicated to all women in the world, not just in Ilocos Sur.
Alright.
Between 80 and 22, a woman is like Africa. Half discovered, half wild, fertile, and naturally beautiful. Between 23 and 30, a woman is like Europe, well-developed and open to trade, especially for someone of real value. Between 31 and 35, a woman is like Spain, very hot, relaxed, and convinced of her own beauty. Between 36 and 40, a woman is like Greece. Naku, nandyan na yata ako. Gently aging, but still a warm and desirable place to visit. Between 41 and 50, a woman is like Great Britain, with a glorious and all-conquering past. Between 51 and 60, a woman is like Israel, has been through war, doesn't make the same mistakes twice, and takes care of business. Nandyan yata ako. Between 61 and 70, a woman is like Canada, self-preserving, but open to meeting new people. And lastly, after 70, she becomes Tibet, wildly beautiful, with a mysterious past and the wisdom of the ages. An adventurous spirit and a thirst for spiritual knowledge. Happy Women's Day to all of you. Naimbag nga daw tayo amin na po.
Yes, ayan at napakaganda ng napag-usapan natin sa episode natin as we celebrate International Women's Day. At nakakagulat na natapos natin ito. At
Ang bango naman ang pagmamahal niyo.
marami
sa atin.
pong salamat sa inyong pag-antabay at panonood po ng aming programa, ang Trabaho kan Serbisyo. At iniimbitahan po namin kayo na manood kayo lagi ng aming mga episode tuwing Martes ng hapon, alas 5 hanggang alas 6 ng gabi. Ito po ay hosted ni Miss Marjo Kamuspusan Amigable ang ating guest today. At
Kasambahay, hindi ako guest.
kasambahay, no? At marami pong salamat. Have a good day. Happy International Women's Day. Bye! Grabe.